Welcome back to the lunch table, food for thought. I'm Niko Blitz. You already know where to hit that subscribe button, man. Shout out to my next guest. We have very similar, identical names, and I actually just learned something today. Niko in Japanese actually means smile. So,
word up.
I feel like we both smile a lot. Niko Brim, everybody. Niko Brim.
Man? Great to see you, man.
Currently on tour with Rhapsody. How's everything going with that, man?
Yo, that shit is a dream come true.
Yeah.
It really is. It's amazing, working with one of the greatest,
Of course.
That's inspiring.
And can I just say, not femc, like actual MC?
Yeah.
Just a strict MC?
Yo, when I have the conversation about who's great, I don't ever say for female rappers.
Yes.
Rap is somebody that if you talk about hip hop, like she's one of the archetypes of what an MC is.
Of
so
course,
I want to give her flowers while she's here.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Rhapsody. And I think what's cool is that, like, I think slowly but surely we're getting the resurgence of just, like, bars back. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I had this guy, Harry Mackin. He just came in, freestyle, just went off the top.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm slowly seeing more and more people just pop back up on the map. We actually just had T3 from Slum Village in here.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
now,
dope.
and I was telling him, like, it's cool to see, people like himself, people like yourself too, who are just strictly like, yo, I'm gonna just get these bars off. So, like, what were really your influences like coming up in the game, man?
Well, I mean, coming from New York for one, right? I'm born in
Mecca.
the Mecca. I'm born in '97, so it was like coming up. New York took a back seat as far as hip hop was going on in the early 2000s, and just when it was the South that was really on.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at the people I looked up to from where I was from, they were all like crazy, like MCs, and not just lyricists. They make songs and everything, but they was rapping their ass off.
Yeah.
So I think as I started coming on of age, it was kind of like I had the chip on my shoulder. The South had their chip on their shoulder through the 90s, and I feel like coming up in 2000s, I kind of had like this chip. It was like, yo, like they're not respecting New York, like like the fucking industry took hip hop and like turned it into this, like they took it like Play-Doh and made whatever they wanted. So it was like I kind of had this feeling of like an obligation to like, if I'm gonna get on wax, I gotta really, do the damn thing. And then, like with Kendrick and Cole coming up after, Ye and Wayne and Drake too. Also, those three guys were like big like influences for me. Like, they did it. Friday Night Lights was going crazy. I was like, if you can do it.
Well, that's why I be thinking about the biggest artists, rappers in the world, and you literally mentioned all of them. All of them just come with straight bars, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to compete in this world when you got, people who wanted to do the SoundCloud shit, people who are doing like the TikTok music, and it's just like there's always this debate about like where exactly does like quote unquote real hip hop, real rap like fit in this day and age today.
Yeah, and I think like with hip hop, I think it's one of those things where it's similar to all the other genres of music. As it continues to grow and influences so many people, people have their own interpretation, and you know what I mean. They express their hip hop differently. So I think that now, as we turn the corner, it's about like knowing like what are the subgenres of hip hop. You know what I mean, and what is the quote unquote archetype, and like how can you keep going? I think that with everybody having technology, social media, there's a lane for everybody. So I don't feel like hip hop doesn't have a place. It's just that knowing where that is and being comfortable with being in your lane.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to run the charts to do you don't have to. You could run people's hearts. You could have 2 million people that are here for a moment. You could have 1 million people out here forever.
Well, that's why, even taking it back to Rhapsody, like Eve, like it's just a fucking dope album front to back, dude.
Yeah, bro.
But and it's like for me, I wish albums like that and even music like yours too, like I wish it would just make a little bit more noise.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of the responsibility, I don't know, maybe it goes back to like the DJs. Maybe it's like the way the record labels are just pushing particular sounds on people.
Yeah. I definitely think it's the pushing the sounds and the DJs too. For you New York DJs, y'all know who I'm talking to. Fucking push the music. Push the music. Cause y'all niggas be playing. I be in the club. You feel me? And I don't hear our shit playing, you know? So I definitely think it's the way that it's being pushed. And I also think the music industry is a lot on making money. So they want to put that first. And I feel that, when it comes to hip hop, when it comes to music and art in general, money isn't necessarily first. So that's just a clash that we're just seeing right now. It's like, two conflicts of interest between artists and business.
Yeah.
So, but you DJs, feel me? I can't speak on LA, but New York.
I mean, I can speak on California DJs in general.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, because me being a DJ too, it's just like it's difficult when I'm over at a bar and I want to play like The Light by Common.
Yeah.
But somebody else just wants to hear like a song that's just strictly about fucking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, dude, I wish there would be some sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe like some sort of median to just say like, hey, like, you know, listening to this shit's cool, but let's also like get to this side so we can kind of make the playing field even.
Yo, you want to know? That's crazy you say that because I was just having this conversation. It's like, it reminds me of like, you know how you have like Democrat, Republican?
Yeah.
There's two sides to this hip hop shit.
Uh-huh.
There's the super commercial, but then there's also the super underground, and they beef with each other. You know what I mean? It's like the meeting ground, I feel like, yes, for the DJs, but even the artists themselves. You know what I mean? There's a lot of contradiction. A lot of those dudes, like, and I'm not saying Common, but in that lane, they'll be like, oh, you know, it's all about doing what you want to do. But then they'll hear the mumble rap and got everything in the world to say about it, and like vice versa. I think that there needs to be a lot more just like respect for each other's art.
Well, I think the median I'll give you a clear-cut example. I think it was on Eminem's Kamikaze album. Right? He had a song with Joyner Lucas, and he was you know what I mean? And he was rapping on a beat that was a lot more like, I think it was at like 70 or 80 BPM, and he was rapping like the kids nowadays. And I'm like, that's perfect. That's where you see like a legend crossing over to the new shit, so you kind of get like, it's the perfect storm. You know, and you're kind of paying homage at the same time and saying like, yo, I can do this shit too.
Yeah, absolutely. That song was dope too, and Joyner got off on that shit, and the video was fire. But yeah, I think it's definitely like a meeting ground. I think Hov was always amazing with that. Like, kind of just seeing where the sound was and, like, implementing the sound without going outside of himself as an artist.
I hear you, man.
I agree, man.
You know, you kind of just got to stay woke.
Yo.
You feel me? Speaking of which, that's Niko Brim's song. If you guys haven't caught on to that,
absolutely.
Woke is out right now. Really dope song. What was the concept behind that record, bro?
So, like, my boy Don Solo, he sent me the instrumental, and I was on the F. I was headed back to Queens, so my pops lives. So I was over there, and we had this whole conversation. We was at work. We was like, yo, niggas think that, you know, they're always giving their 2 cents and creating this, like, premise on what woke should be. But that's not even woke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody goes to their own version of woke. You know what I mean? So it was... when I was making a song, like, I actually had the hook first, and I was like, keep your 2 cents. Like, I ain't trying to leave you broke. Because the people that always have something to say about what you're doing, that's usually all that they can give, and that's why they feel so entitled to say what they have to say. So I was like, I made that record, and I was like, yo, this is for everybody. And, like, even in the verse, like, I talk about my life, like, you know, I woke up late. You know what I mean? I missed court. Like, yeah, my shit might be kind of fucked up, but I still don't need to hear from you. Like, you know what I mean? This is my own journey. This is my own path to woke.
So how would you define woke?
How would I define woke? I think, damn, that was a great question.
I mean, this question was bound to come to you eventually, bro.
Yeah. And nobody's ever asked it. It's like, cool record. You got bars. But I would think that woke is definitely... I think it's taking time to, like, improve on yourself emotionally, mentally. Like, you know what I mean? I think that for me, what was working on being woke is battling some of the you know, the things that were holding me back. You know what I mean? It could be things to, like, insecurity, to train of thought, you know what I mean, to habits, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that go into being woke. But I think if you're actively trying to operate from a place that's, you know, more, I don't want to necessarily say positive, but that's more beneficial, not just to yourself, but to the community that you belong to. If you're able to start living in contribution as opposed to taking away, that's woke.
Damn. Who trained you, bro? That was an extremely PR-ass answer, man. No, but I mean, I fuck with it.
Yeah, thank
because
you.
I think what tends to happen is that once people get past that line of woke, you know, I appreciate the fact that you said, like, being woke kind of involves the rest of the community, and we're kind of just supposed to work together. But, you know, obviously, like, there's Democrats and Republicans, so it's like, I feel like once we cross the line where it's like, that side is broken, that's when we start bleeding onto the other side and say, like, no, well, you're fucking wrong. But I always believe that in every single case, like, people are right to a degree, and we're always wrong to a degree as well.
There's always a righteous person in a group of people. There's always an evil person in a group of people. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel that, to your point, when you create that line, it's like you're not really hearing out the potential positive from the other side.
I hear you.
And we were talking before about me being Jamaican Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
I think even like being interracial in that way helped me see that. Like you can't just, like assume that one group of people is just all the way that way. You know what I mean? It's just not true.
Yeah, speaking of Asians, not every Asian has coronavirus.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you feel me? Like, don't fucking look at us like, oh, let me just put the mask on right now. But yeah, growing up in a household where you're like half Jamaican and half Japanese, I told you before we started this, but it's such like a very intriguing mix to me. So it's like, was there, like, did you have both like your Jamaican side come in and your Japanese side come in, and then like...
Yeah. So I'll give you like the quick breakdown of it. So it was my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather. My great-grandfather was a Tuskegee Airman, and he was stationed in Japan through the 50s after the war. And my great-grandmother lived in Tokyo and everything, and he saw her and was like, yo, I got to get with her. Need her. You feel me?
Yeah.
So he married, and they moved back to New York City. And that's just kind of how it's been. And my great-grandmother's still alive to this day.
Damn.
Actually stays in our house with us in Mount Vernon. And my grandmother, so...
Damn, living strong. Shout out to great-grandma, man.
Yeah, man, she's doing great. She ever sees it. She does like to tune into my stuff. So, we love you, Grandma. I call her Grandma because... She says great is too old. So, Grandma, we love you. And, we're holding it down. But, yeah, it was definitely interesting, especially in New York where I come from, uptown. It's, like, mad Caribbean people. Mm-hmm. So, like, they understood the Jamaican side. But people would come into my house and be like, holy shit, like, this is really cool mix. And I think it allowed me to just, be a little bit more diverse, a little bit more accepting, a little more chill.
Yeah. Have you tapped in on, like, both sides of your culture?
Yeah, heavy. I grew up, bro. We would have fucking stewed chicken, rice furikake, seaweed, miso soup. You know what I mean? Like, we mixed it all the way up. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, ramune sodas, you know what I mean? With, like, fried dumplings. Like, I came up with both of the cultures real heavy. Yeah, like, it was a super heavy thing for me. So, it was... Food is A1.
Your cookouts must have been fire,
bro. Who are you telling? Bro, I can't believe I'm this skinny to this day,
That's
bro.
what I'm saying, bro. You want that workout regimen or something, man. Shit.
Yeah,
but your household sounds dope. So when exactly did the music come in?
Oh, music was actually there like my whole life. So my mom is a stylist and a fashion like icon. For everyone from like Little Kim, you know what I mean, to Mary, to Faith Evans, she's been a part of that. So that's, a niche of hip hop culture in itself. Mm-hmm. My dad has also been an A&R and an executive in music. So I would come up and I would just be in the studio all the time. Like I was always just around it, So when I actually got into high school, that's when I started wanting to turn the corner on rapping. And it was like my senior year where I started taking all my raps I had throughout my life and started like putting them on wax. So it was just kind of like I was always exposed. I was always drumming. Like I was never the best athlete. I was always an arts type of kid. That's just how I was. And I think I just kept following the path. And then by the time I was in high school, it was on and popping.
Well, yeah, with your parents being basically in the exact same industry, it was bound to make its way to you.
Yeah.
So with your dad being an A&R, like... how's that dynamic for you? Like, is he a lot more critical on you? Does he tell you shit like right off the bat, like, yo, that's whack, yo, this is dope?
He's very critical, like but it never feels like too much because I have a big heart, so I'm like, yo, you don't like it? I'm gonna come with some shit next that you cannot refuse. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he likes to just put the fire underneath me because he sees that that's the type of person I am, and it's also really good to have somebody like that because he can see where I'm going with the record. You know what I mean? So it's like he might see the idea. I could send him voice notes, and he'll be like, oh, I like what you're doing. And he can kind of give me some pointers. And, but working with your parents is always, like...
it's tricky.
You got to, like, tread lightly. And it's like, as I'm getting older and, being my own man, they learn to, like, respect it. You know what I mean? And just let me do what I do. But, yeah, he's definitely keeps it a buck with me. He says what it is.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, I mean, you definitely need that father figure. You need the father figure, and you also need somebody who's been deep in the industry for hella long just to tell you what it is. Because, at the end of the day, it's just like, in some way, shape, or form, I'm sure the money goes back to your family in some sort of way. So It's just like, if I tell my son this shit's good, but it's whack as fuck, I'm only fucking myself over.
Yeah, exactly. And my dad always says that. He's like, you'll believe me. If you was whack, I would have told you. You know? So he definitely always encourages me, pushes me to go. And, like, with the industry and rap, like, having my dad give me the A&R ear and then rap being the rapper, it allows me to find that meeting ground like the two worlds. You know what I mean? Like,
what was something that like excited you back when you were a kid, and you kind of looked at this and was just like, yo, like I really want to be in this music shit? Because you know, you being around like your mom, who's a stylist for like Kim, Mary J. Blige, and your dad being an A&R that he is, it's just like you must have ran into so many different people, and you were just like, yo, like this is tight. Yeah, I really want to do this.
Yo, one of my earliest memories, this is a classic story. So
classic.
My dad was actually at Def Jam at the time. LL Cool J's at Def Jam. I'm mad young. Like, my parents are still together. So I'm like, I have to be like less than 6, older than 4. So I'm in the studio with them, and I'm in the outside room taking a nap. I wake up, I go in the studio. My dad's in there with LL. LL's cooking up.
Yeah.
And my dad's just in there. And I know who LL Cool J is, you know? So I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And then I'm like, you're LL Cool J. He's like, nah, I'm not. I'm his twin brother. And everybody, yo, I swear to you, everybody in the studio was like, yeah, nah, LL didn't, you know, they're playing a prank on me. I'm so little, you know, because I'm so little. They're just, they're just killing me right now. And I'm looking at him like, nah, this is crazy. He's like, nah, but I'm his brother. I'll show you a few things. So I watched them, like, they had the board. And this is, like, back in the day when, like, the sound still goes through the board. You feel me? So I'm watching, like, you know, them mix the records. And I'm hearing them go in and take. And I'm seeing the process of putting a record together. And that was, like, one of the earliest moments where, like, it like, resonated with me in a completely different way than, like, all the other things I've been exposed to in my life. Like, it was just one of those, like, for me to say to you verbatim at 22, this lets you know how much it impacted me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a magical. I can actually just see it in your eyes, bro. You're just like, damn.
Yeah, and
it was like, magical.
And it's like it's LL, like, you know, and just to see them working, and then also too that let me know, like, seeing my dad with it, like, I can do it. You know, sometimes when it's far removed from you, it's like the chances of me making it are like slim to none. I think coming up and seeing it let me know. I'm like, bro, it's just about your work ethic. It's like, if you have the talent, just work on your talent, and it'll just work.
I hear you, man. So, you know, how did you end up getting plugged in with, like, Rhapsody and Ninth Wonder and all them?
Now, you want that? You want that
of
rundown,
course.
right?
Yeah, the whole rundown.
So, I was in Mount Vernon, and my mom, she just started this whole, like, situation with MCM. So she's, like, you know, getting involved with it. And she's speaking to me. She knows I'm a big Ninth Wonder fan. Some of my first raps that I have ever written have been on Ninth Wonder instrumentals off of YouTube. Like, Ninth is a big reason why I got into rapping, you know? So she was talking to me, and she was like, yeah, you know, they were offering an opportunity to work with, you know, your boy Ninth and Rhapsody. I'm like, you're going to what? I'm like, nah, no way. I'm flipping. She was like, yeah, like, you know, oh, what do you think about that? I'm like, you should absolutely do it. So fast forward, it's like the day of. I just got off work. You know, you gotta hustle. You gotta make it happen. So I got off work, and I'm chilling at the crib. And my mom calls me. She's like, yeah, hey, so I'm, like, linking up with them. Do you think you could come down and, like, you know, say what's up? So I'm like, absolutely. So I hop on the 5 train. Y'all, I'm from Mount Vernon. I'm on the last stop on the 5. We was on that train for a minute. Me and my boy Jihad. Shout out G.
No clue what any of this means, but go ahead.
Last stop on the 5. So I go all the way downtown. And I got to link rap, and rap, you know, she was just mad cool, and I was like, you know, I rap. And she was like, oh, yeah? And I was like, nah, for real. She was like, so then rap for me then. Put me on the spot in front of everybody. And I shut it down. And she was like, oh, shit. And she was like, how old are you? And I was like, you know, we were just talking about it. She took my number down. And then, you know, the show went on. And after the show, I tried to rap for Ninth. And Ninth's on. He's leaving to go. They got a flight to catch. Yeah. So he's like, if you're going to rap, well, then rap. So I got my arm on his shoulder. We're walking to the SUV. I'm rapping in his ear. Crazy. Like, I'm rapping in his ear. Like, yo. So Ninth is just kind of looking at me like, oh, shit.
Oh, this fool's serious.
Yeah. So then he, like, followed me, and, like, we were just staying in touch. And this was in, like, April of 2018. Okay. And then I went through the whole summer not really hearing back from them. So I was like, damn, you know, like, I did it, but I could have went harder. Come the fall, Rap hit me on the text, and she was like, yo, we want you to come out and, you know, just cook up with us. And I went down there and they were working on Jamla as a squad too, and they just finished getting all their features. Conway, J. Cole, JID, Black Thought, everybody. So they're like, yeah, we're just mixing and mastering. I ended up cutting a record with them that night that ended up making the project.
Whew.
And so it was like when I cut the record and I got thrown on the project, the rest was history. Like I go down there, cook up with them, the whole Soul Council, the whole fleet of producers, the whole fleet of artists. They're really some of the most genuine people. It's like a hidden hip hop sanctuary.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the most purest places where if you're really trying to get away as an artist and just work, you can go down there. And from the moment I linked with them and I linked with rap, it just was an immediate synergy and connection. And it's just been that way ever since. I'm a little homie.
How does it feel for you? Because it sounds like everything just came full circle a lot quicker than anybody can expect.
Yeah. It was I wish it did. In 2018 I was doing all that stuff and it was kind of rough, at first. I wasn't in the streets, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't, like, selling heavy or nothing. So I didn't have the backing that a lot of, the people that were coming up, especially in hip-hop. So it was, like, it was a lot of working. I think it was really just, like, the determination and, like, to see it all pay off now. I was pushing 3 jobs and walking dogs. Sheesh. You know what I mean? Like, doing what I could. Like, I had a 99 Corolla. Like, we would sleep outside the venues, you know what I mean? Like, before we would perform. Like I went through all of that, and so I think it was when it came, as frustrated as I was, I just realized that I had to be prepped. You know what I mean? Like God has his way, and when it was time for me to execute, I executed. So it was like I was just thankful that it went the way that it did. You know, it's just it was definitely like a full circle moment. And then to be underneath Rhapsody, there's like, who else would I want to be under? Like like that's just such a blessing. So. Yeah, that's my take on that.
Can I just say I'm really happy for you, man?
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Again, I could really feel the energy just emanating from you, and it's this energy that I don't normally feel on a day-to-day basis. So I'm like 100% excited for you, bro.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Question, man. How does CYN start?
Woo!
King Combs, Kai Cash, I guess the Boston Celtics, Jalen Brown's in there too.
Yeah, my boy. Yup, JB, 'tis the influence.
Now, I know you guys were on Sway, but you guys never said what CYN actually stands for.
So CYN, it stands for Create Your Now.
Okay,
so, CYN is actually founded by me and Kai.
Okay.
So it originally started, it was a nickname given to me just because I was young, 13, opportunist, trying to get wherever I could get, and, CYN was me. And then when I got into, like, my freshman year of high school, I used to sit down with Kai. Kai is, like, my brother, like, blood could not make us closer. And I was like, yo, we need to turn this into a hip-hop culture collective that's, like, transcends hip-hop. Like, if you represent, not just hip-hop, the music. If you represent hip-hop in any facet, CYN will be your moment, you know what I mean? Where we could all click up. It's like a frat, like damn near, So he was like, yo, let's do it. So we were going through high school. At first, we were just about bars and getting fly. You know what I mean? Like check out the kicks, you know what I mean? Then like as time went on, it really started pulling in like a lot of like attention and a lot of traction and people wanted to represent and people saw a piece of themselves through all of us and through what we were doing. And we just stuck together as brothers. King Combs and I, we're brothers. We share Justin. Justin is my older brother, Justin Combs. That's my older brother, and that's Christian's brother. So, me and Christian were always tight. Me and Kyle were always tight. We're all like family. And now it's a force to be reckoned with, man. It's like it's much bigger than just the music. You know what I mean? It's like I said, it's the culture collective. We touch hip hop and we represent for those young youths and people of color.
Yeah.
So
I love that, man.
Yeah.
So then, what are you guys also picking up basketball players like Jalen?
Well,
how does that even happen?
Yeah, so we are picking up people like Jalen, absolutely. And Jalen is the homie, and I came up a Celtics fan.
Okay.
So Jalen, he's stamped over here. Whatever he needs, he can holler at us. But he went with us up to Sway that day, and that was actually a special moment. He had the headphones on and everything. He was hearing us all go crazy. But, Jalen, he's just like a really cool dude. Like, he's really humble. He's down to earth. He's poised. He's consistent, and he works hard.
How did he find his way to CYN?
I think that started with my boy Ralph. I think my boy Ralph was linking him. Because there's a lot of us, bro. We're like Wu-Tang deep as far as affiliates go.
How many people you think? Shit, that sounds like 20 or something.
Yeah, no, at least 2 dozen. At least 24. Damn. Like, at the bare minimum of affiliates, at least 24. Bro, we go into the club, bro. We're like 2 sections, like, all the time. It's too many of them.
You're the people I need to invite to the club, then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Promoters be asking, like, yo, can you bring, like, 25 people? Yeah. Let's get the CYN guys in here. We get to go.
Yes, bro. We will bring mad people. And so, I think Ralph was linking him. And I actually met Jalen the night before Sway. Because...
Oh.
Yeah, so I didn't meet him personally until the night before. They were at Julan, and I was just like in Mount Vernon. They were like, yo, come down. And they, broke down the whole play to me about going to Sway. And I just, went with them. And the rest is history. Yeah. Shout out Sway, because he also was a big platform that gave me an opportunity when, people were kind of overlooking us. Because, back to what I was saying with all my family and everything, a lot of people misconstrue like the idea, like, we're just industry kids, or like we didn't have these lives, or we didn't go through what we were going through. So a lot of the time we were trying to win over the people in the industry and win our local people, because they just assumed that it was like, different than what it was.
Yeah.
So shout out. So.
I mean, I think it's kind of hard to get out of that shadow when you have somebody who's already prominent in the industry, who's like your father or something,
Yeah, absolutely.
Even for like, King Combs, it's just like, it's Diddy.
Yeah.
Like, you got to compete with Diddy being your dad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I think us as consumers need to realize, like, there's a fine split. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's okay to have Niko Brim and, your dad who's the A&R, but also separate them. Know that they might work together in some capacity, but separate them as their own entities.
Yeah, absolutely. And even when I come into it, I don't really... I do my best to, like, keep the legacy and stuff like that in the back of my head. Like, I'm like, what do I want to create? What do I want to be known for? Like, I feel like a lot of times people will just, like, inherently just, like you said, they'll group you there.
Yeah.
And then because they group you there, you group yourself. And I'm like, well, I don't have to carry that torch in that way. I could just be me, and I got your last name, so I'll just take it as far as I can. You feel me?
So, back to what you were saying, man, like, what is it that you want to create? What is the legacy that you want to leave?
I think that's your questions, bro. I can make songs off the questions you ask me, bro. Like, you feel me? Like,
do it, man.
What legacy do I want to leave? I think that the biggest thing for me right now is really letting people know that, because, I think it's kind of cliche to say, like, just be yourself and be you. But I think that for the creatives and for the peoples that think outside the box and the dreamers, like, don't be afraid to go for the dream. You know what I mean? I feel that I'm somebody that was up against the odds. I felt that I was somebody that could have been potentially, like, overshadowed or overlooked, or underdog. And I think that it's like, yo, don't let the statistics and accolades from the outside world dictate how far you can take anything that you want to do. You can bring that shit, to the moon and back. And so it's like I had to learn to just keep my head down and grind. And I want to be a representation for those kids, and also the kids that weren't, like in the street, like, dealing and, shooting and everything. Like, that was something that I came up around to know that, yo, that's just not for me. Mm-hmm. And, we took the hard route, but it was the route that paid off. So, if you are in those situations and you are coming up, whether you're a rapper, whether you want to be a lawyer, if you're just somebody that's facing that adversity, if there's a will, if there's a way, you feel me? If there's a goal, you can compromise and you can make it happen. And I think that that's what I stand for, and that's what CYN stands for.
Well, Niko Brim, everybody, I think we need you to do a TED Talk later on in life or some shit, bro. Like, I'm over here feeling inspired too. Like, shit, man. I can rap now. I'm just fucking with you, man. Yeah. So, Nico, I'm going to go through a quick round of, like, super quick questions. You just answer everything to the best of your ability, man.
Let's do it.
So, we're obviously at the lunch table. What's your favorite lunch?
Ooh, my favorite lunch is chicken teriyaki, fried rice, onions, broccoli. Is it from the spot? But let me tell you, y'all probably thinking hibachi. There's a spot called Hibachi Express in Newark, New York, where you can get that to go. On the lunch break,
in the studio?
With the extra teriyaki?
Sheesh.
Come on.
You know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah, what's the next one?
Dream collaboration, both an artist and a producer.
Can I give 2 artists and 2 producers?
Of course.
Rhapsody, and that's happening.
Yeah.
That's locked in. But so I'll say somebody outside of that. Kendrick, and I would love to work with Saba.
Ooh.
He's killing right now.
Yeah.
And I see where he's headed, man. He's great. Like, and I would say for producers, I would say Kanye and Pharrell. I would love to get in with both of those dudes, man.
You know, people usually say 9th, but
Oh well, me and that, yeah.
But, you check that off too.
Yo, when I got in with 9th, bro, that's a whole other story. I'm gonna shit myself.
Wait, okay, get into that story.
When I link with him?
Yeah, when you link with him, when y'all cut that record.
So, when I first went down there and I cut the record for Jam, I actually cut it with Crisis. So I cut with Crisis, and then on the last day, 9th had like this old laptop from like the early 2000s where he did mad like Little Brother shit and like comeback season beats that like didn't go on the project and everything. And he's like playing me mad beats. And like, I'm like, oh, this is hard or this is hard. And while I'm listening to these beats, he doesn't tell me. And he just puts them in a folder for me. And then he like gives me a USB of vintage 9th Wonder beats from his 2003 laptop or from whenever the fuck. And so I'm like, mind blown, go back to New York. Worked on those records. But the first time we got in together, I came back down again all of September. I was there for like a month just cooking up. My last day, I'm on my way to... I'm glad you asked me this story. I'm on my way to the airport. I'm in the airport. Bags checked, everything.
Yeah.
I'm at the gate. 9th hits me like, hey, man, what time do you leave? You know, you're from the South.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm at the gate. You know, like, what's up? He was like, yo, I'm trying to get one in. Like, yo, if we get you another flight situated, like, will you stay and, like, cook up with me?
Damn.
I'm like, yes. You feel me? Like,
Let me think about it.
Bro, I was texting him walking out of the of the airport. Like, bro, that's not even a question. I left, I went to Waffle House, and then I got into the studio, and he's like, I get in, I'm like, amped, but you got to play it real cordial. Like, yeah, so what we about to do?
Yeah.
And he's like, gives me this whole idea, this whole concept of the record, and I'm like, dope. Can you play me the beat? He's like, yeah, I got you. 1 second. The nigga had to make the beat. This whole time, he had an idea of just the record for me. And then he goes through his vinyls, cuts the record, makes the beat, and then sends me in the back room to just start writing. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. He's like, write a verse. I write like 3 verses. As I'm writing, this dude comes in, excuse me, this big ass thing on his back, keyboard player, comes in, does like 12 tracks worth of keys on the record. And I'm just like, yo, what is going on? They're arranging it. And like, it was the craziest producer moment I've ever had in my life. Like, it was crazy, bro. And he just created something out of nothing in like a split second, like, and just blessed me.
What was the name of the record again? Like,
to me, it's coming soon. It's not out yet.
Oh, it's not out yet.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's not out yet. But that's how we cooked the record that we got. Yeah,
Looks like we got an exclusive story.
Oh yeah, that's an exclusive. Yeah, super exclusive story. And
so I guess my last question to you is: do you know when that record is gonna come out?
I mean, hopefully on my next project. It's called The King Has No Crown.
Okay.
It's executive produced by Rhapsody, and the Soul Council is on there. You gotta. Yeah, so it's a very special project, and I've been working on it for a while. It's just that being that we're on road right now, we gotta like, bust this out before we get into like the whole 6-week rollout. You know how that whole shit goes. So I'm waiting to do that, but yeah, it's definitely gonna come hopefully this year.
Niko Brim, everybody. I have absolutely no more questions.
Yeah.
Give everybody your socials, man.
It's a Niko Brim, NIKOBRIM. That's on every platform from Apple Music, Instagram, Twitter, NIKOBRIM. CYN Mob. Make sure you check that page out. If you out here in LA, will this be on by the time we do the show?
Probably not.
Okay,
But you know.
Yeah, but we're still gonna shout it out anyway.
Shout them out. You know, they're gonna be at the El Rey. You feel me?
Yeah, El Rey. You know, with a black woman created this tour with Rhapsody,
Yes.
Ciroc, the legendary MC, Heather Victoria, and you know the Queens brought the king out. So
There you go. This is the lunch table, food for thought. I'm Niko Blitz. He's
And I'm
Niko
Niko
Brim, and we're out, everybody. Yay!